The moron is back. Hi, wild hunt, beasts, Hatsumira, things, fuck. Listen, I'm sorry, I don't know, it's just managed to straight up forget to record. And I'll probably be keeping it short again because I'm feeling extremely fucking tired for some reason. I'm sure you can notice right now. Ugh. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, just get on with it. Hey, listen! Come in with your tech!
断る
Blimey, that was fast. Are you still mad?
当たり前じゃん。私はまだお前を許したわけではないぞ。それをいきなりやってきて命令とは。
Don't say that, I'll show you a nice place.
どこへ行くというのじゃ
Nago Hot Springs.
やはりか。他の女で試した場所に私を誘うな、バカ者め。
How do you know about that? Oh well, just come. They're incredibly effective.
効能じゃと
Come see for yourself.
待たぬか。まさか一緒に家に入るつもりなのか
Is there anything wrong with that?
あるじゃろう。いろいろと問題が、なんじゃ。
You got something against getting naked? You can wear a bathing suit. You're a princess, so surely you have a few of them.
確かに持ってはおるが。
No worries, I've reserved it for our private use so nobody else will come in.
おう。強引じゃの。
I'm not exactly trying to cheer her up by inviting her to the hot springs. It's way too late for something like that. I don't mind if she stays angry the whole time while we're there. But if there's anything I want to avoid, it's the risk of dying before having told her what I want to say. It is just that those hot springs seem to have the effect of making people talk about things they normally can't talk about. That's why I chose to bring her there. I do like it. Feels great, doesn't it?
温泉が気持ちいいのは当たり前じゃ。お前の功績ではなかろ。だいたい昼間に他の寮たちと散々入ったであろうに。まだ入り足りぬというのか。
It's because you weren't there.
私がいなかったから。なんじゃというのじゃ。
Water these springs has a relaxing effect, and when you let your guard down, you'll become able to say things you normally can't. And when I was here with the others this afternoon, I found myself wishing that you were here.
何を言うかと思えば、そらそらしいわ。
Don't be like that. There are plenty of confidential things I've told only you about. And it doesn't sit right with me that we stay angry after a petty quarrel.
くだらんこととは何じゃ。
Nah, it definitely was, and entirely at fault for our fight this morning. Realized that I was wrong in getting angry just because a woman hit me in the head.
謝ってなぞ欲しくないわ。
I figured you'd say that, though I also doubt that you want to sour our relationship any further.
言われずとも分かっておるわ。もうそのことでは怒っておらん。
And what is it? How about you take this opportunity to tell me what it is?
では、はっきりと言わせてもらうが、随分と楽しそうじゃな。
Sorry, can you be a bit clearer? What is your problem with that?
私のいないところでも、いつの間にか懐いた陸戦隊の連中や飛竜隊の連中、七音まで、随分と楽しそうにやっているではないか。
Does it look like I'm just playing around to you?
そうではない。なぜわからぬ。
I'm trying my best to understand, but I'm a simple chap. I'm afraid you will have to explain any delicate nuances to me in
め
detail.
んどくさいやつじゃの。
That's why I'm now taking the time to work on it. Can you explain everything to me from the very beginning?
つまりは、なんじゃ。
Also, I suppose I should, take thumbnail here. Pain. Oh, it'll have the background enabled again.
右も左もわからん世界に放り出され、心細い思いをしていたお前に手を差し伸べたのは私じゃ。お前もそのことには感謝していると言っておったじゃろうに。じゃというのに、お前は私がおらんでも十分にのびのびとこの世界で生きておるように見える。
There haven't been any issues worth mentioning lately, though I admit I sometimes find myself struggling with cultural differences sometimes.
私はもうお前に必要ないということか？
Hold on a tick. When did I ever say anything about anything like that?
言ってはおらぬが、お前はいつも勝手にひょこひょこと出向いては、なんじゃ、仲の良いものを増やしておるではないか。
Respecting the troops is part of my job. You told me that when you asked for my help with the intertribal negotiations. Now that those negotiations have progressed smoothly and our troops have grown considerably in number, let me ask you instead. Don't you need to do my job? Do you need me to do my job anymore?
必要じゃとか必要ないじゃとか、そういう話ではないのじゃ。
Then why would you need to yell at me? Sometimes I really don't get you.
それぐらい察さぬか。
I feel like you're mainly yelling at me because I tried to figure it out, but got it wrong.
やはりお前とは話にならん。
Say, Yukikaze.
なんじゃ。
Let me make one thing clear. I don't want to pick fights with you or anything. You do understand that? I do understand that at least.
私とて別に喧嘩がしたいわけではないわ。
To you, it might look like I'm simply enjoying myself, but don't forget that none of this would be possible if I hadn't met you. And if we hadn't met, I would have shriveled up and died in Dumplet Desert. I've told you before, but I'm incredibly grateful to you. I owe you my life. Thought I'd thrown my life away, but then you picked it up. You may never forget acts of kindness. Pay them back, even if it costs us our life. If you say you don't like it when I do something, then I'll stop doing it. Why don't you tell me clearly what it is I'm doing that you
そう
dislike?
して正面から問われるならば、私も答える義務があろう。じゃが、答えようにも、何と言葉にすればよいのか、私自身にもよくわからぬ。うまくは言えぬが、私はおそらく不安なのじゃ。
So you're anxious without knowing why? Is it something I can help you with? Do you need a hug or something? It's just a suggestion. There's no need for you to get all defensive about it.
わかっておるが、私はほぼ裸なのじゃ。抱きしめるとか、それはもう犯罪じゃろ。
No, I know. Anyway, what are you anxious about? 'Is there anything I can do for you? Tell me whatever you can. I'd appreciate
お
it.
前を拾ったのは私じゃ。お前は私のために生きろ。
Right on. I'll live for your sake from now
な
on.
ら、いい。これ以上は言うまい。これ以上を望めば、わがままじゃ。
I don't mind listening to a selfish request or two from you, especially right
それ
now.
では他の女と同じじゃ。女のわがままというものはな、ここぞという時に言うから通るのじゃ。
It's not.
じゃが、約束の証ぐらいは欲しいと思うのは、わがままか？
What do you mean?
約束とは、口で交わすものじゃ。ここまで言えば、理解できるであろう。
Not sure, but I promise. If you want evidence, then I'll take an oath later. Well, promise only lasts until the war is over.
ならば、もういい。先に上がれ。私はもう少し風呂を楽しんでゆく。
おい。
分かっておる。じゃが、一人で考える時間が欲しいのじゃ。
Let the heat get to your head,
分か
okay?
っておる。たかが男一人のことで、この雪風が何とも無様なことよ。 私は竜の子。一郎は人の子。所詮は結ばれるはずもない。それは十分承知しておるし、どうにもならんことと理解もしておる。
I mean, it literally is with the whole like blood drinking thing all the dragons can
そ
do.
れでも納得できないのはなぜなのじゃろうか。私の不安は一郎を失うことを恐れているのであろうか。私はそれほどまでに一郎を好きなのであろうか。いっそ今宵この機会に素直にそれを伝えるべきだったのであろうか。じゃが好きだなどという言葉は本気で口にしなければ伝わらぬ。本気ではない、あれは冗談だったなどと逃げ道を用意しておれば、その程度かと見透かされるであろう。ましてや伝えたところでどうにもならぬ思いならば、伝えたことで相手に負担をかけるだけの思いならば、このまま伝えぬ方が良いのじゃろう。伝えぬまま今の関係を続けていられる間だけでも、続けられるだけ続けておればそれでいい。そうすれば別れ際にこれ以上苦しむこともなかろう。一番いいのじゃ。
Alumilicon Anchorage. We're at 11% now. After spending many more hours scouting the surrounding areas with the Lulicarian mountain rangers acting as escorts, we finally managed to secure a steady supply line to the Espolia front line. With fresh reinforcements, the troops of the Espolian front were able to hold out. With the Third Army on one end and the reinforcements on the other, they pincered the enemy on two opposing fronts in one decisive maneuver. After the battle, Badaul started employing the war refugees from the northern cities who had been evicted from Espolia by the Wisla army, giving them stable jobs again. The production of fuel and metal, both crucial to the war effort, had been neglected until now. But the revival of the oil fields, mines, and refineries at Ledro has finally resolved our production woes. With the oil tanker at HMS Poseidonia and the cooperation of the Narades, we have been able to set up a supply route spanning across the sea, securing a safe source of refined oil. In addition to the R&D team in Espolia has been able to produce new weapons and machine parts from the newfound supply of minerals. We now have a reliable source of raw materials and top-notch war technology. The Alumilican has remained on the southern port while it waits for the fuel and machine parts that it lacks. However, due to its sheer size, we still haven't succeeded in repairing it fully. Some sections still remain submerged.
なんじゃ、すぐには飛べんのか。
数百年も海底に水没していた船っすよ。こうして燃焼期間に火が入っただけでも奇跡みたいなもんすよ。
Getting out work a tad bit faster, though, that the enemy will keep their nose out of our business for long if they find out the engine works.
とは言っても、短時間の燃焼実験に成功したって段階っすから、まだこれから色々と調整しないと、壊しちゃったら壊しちゃったで、また修理に時間がかかるっす。
I prefer to move it somewhere post-haste. If it stays in one place, the risk of it being targeted by a large-scale aerial raid is too high. My misgivings turned out to be justified. The port town where the Millikan was stationed ended up being bombed. It happened 2 weeks after we finally fired up its engine. The Principality of Whistler launched a full-scale air raid. When the super high-altitude bomber airships nicknamed White Catfish invaded our territory at an altitude of 10,000 meters, we were scrambled to intercept them. However, all we had to rely on were our inaugural Type 3 rocket engines. All squadron members who participated in a daytime operation of intercepting the White Catfish had to operate at ultra-high altitudes, whether they were used to them or not. The only experienced ultra-high altitude fighter in our troop is Lieutenant Franz Squall, which automatically meant that the interception mission fell upon the shoulders of the 384th Wyvern Squadron. They were joined by the 232nd Squadron from the Fluknon base located on the Kiska Islands. On the first day of the air raid, the blimps on our radar suggested the enemy sent 50 units, including at least 30 dragon zombies. When the air raid alarm suddenly sounded, our forces held back nothing in reserve, with the 384th Squadron in the lead. The 232nd, having received reinforcements from the 407th Squadron, clashed with the escort dragon zombies at about 6,000 meters, while the 384th climbed to the extreme altitudes to intercept the white catfish looming above. The first success in the battle for the port district was accomplished by Lieutenant Franz Squall of the 384th. White catfish that was approaching from the east had entered the port's airspace, coming within 5 kilometers of its target, but Fran hit it with her howitzer from below. Within moments, the airship turned into a ball of fire and started dropping. Wyvern from the 232nd Squadron visually confirmed that it went down into the ocean. The final tally of the day counted 3 out of the 4 20 low and high altitude airships destroyed, 4 probables, and 13 damaged. In other words, we managed to neutralize almost all of them. On the other hand, we suffered losses too. 1 Wyvern did not return. 5 had to make emergency landings. The 384th Squadron suffered no losses, though. From looking at the numbers, this battle should be considered a victory. Of the Whistler ships that were shot down, 1 fell victim to Franz's initial attack. Another airship was crippled by a Wyvern who managed to fire the Naga-type hardware consecutively while flying upside down at ultra-high altitude. Seeing the airship's engine starting smoke after being hit, Ellen used the 250-kilogram No. 3 bomb to finish it off, securing the second kill. Her performance was outstanding. Encouraged by Ellen's bold move, the other squadrons attacked the remaining white catfish one after the other, and since all they could do was breathe fire, they only did moderate damage to 3 of them. Out of those, only 1 was recorded as a kill by a member of the 307th. That was the 3rd one. It was downed by Lieutenant Mia Frost. Seeing the airship going into its deep dive due to engine damage from the gunfire and having run out of ammo, she fired her rocket engine and rammed herself into the ship at full speed. The remaining of the fuel of the engine exploded upon impact, and Lieutenant Mia Frost herself honorably went down with 3rd enemy aircraft that was destroyed that day. Despite the successful attack, our squadrons were left deeply saddened by the casualty. The Supreme Commander issued an order forbidding the use of ramming attacks that same day. However, that order only served to spread knowledge that ramming attacks could be successfully used in desperate situations. That was likely the underlying reason for the subsequent occurrences of ramming attacks in the future. Miraculously, we were able to endure the continued 4-day blitz against the Alumilikan and prevent them from accomplishing their objective. However, it is not enough to merely stave off the enemy in war. On a dreary, rainy day, another sobering threat to the resistance manifested itself. This time, it came from the home front.
戦争反対！バラウルはこの町から出ていけ！
連中、まだやってんのかよ。もう昼だぞ。このクソ雨の中、ごく。
まったく、誰のために私たちが戦ってると思っているんですの？
That's just the blinkered outlook of a military man. To the civilians, we must look like bloodthirsty madmen who started a war nobody ever asked for.
ですけど！
Understand what you want to say, but try thinking about it from their perspective. For them, it doesn't matter if we're fighting for Rizla or Baraul. We're the ones who bring the war into their villages.
ああして手をつないで文句を言っていれば戦争がなくなるとでも？
Sure you'd understand that it'll solve bugger all.
そうは思いませんわ。
Think about it the other way. Imagine what things would be like if all the citizens, including women and children, looked up to us soldiers with starry eyes, worshipping us because we're fighting for the country, and vowed to abstain from any comfort or enjoyment in life to support us. I'm sure that would be harder on the soldiers than this sort of criticism would.
私たちだって好きで戦争をしているわけではありませんわ。
No, just remember that as long as citizens criticize the army, the country is still relatively peaceful.
私は悔しいです。
悔しいというより辛いです。子供に生卵をぶつけられたのが一番辛いですね。
気にすんなって。あんなのは物事の善悪もわからないまま、面白半分で参加してる連中だろ。
Can't say that for sure. Leaving aside the right and wrong issue, maybe they just need somebody to blame for the friends and family they lost in the war.
だったらビスラに向けて投げろよ。なんで私らなんだよ。安全なとこで安全な相手に八つ当たりしてんじゃねえよ。
You want all the war orphans to go through what you've been through. Need to try understanding someone before you go about starting an argy-bargy with them. After all, that's exactly what they're doing to us. You should understand exactly why it's wrong, no?
んだよ、一郎。あんたどっちの味方なんだよ。
I'm a military man. It's my job to protect both the country's interests and the livelihood of the people.
チェ、意味わかんねえし。つか、おめえも食ってばっかいねえで、なんか言えよ。
パン、食べる？
ばっか野郎！軍全体の指揮に関わる話をしてんだぞ。なんで、何言ってんのみたいな顔してんだよ。ちゃんと話聞いてたのかよ。
パンに夢中で聞いてませんでした。
聞いてろよ！せめて聞いてろよ！
食べる？
腹が減ってイライラしてるわけじゃねえよ。今はそれどころじゃねえって言ってんだろ。後で食うよ。
後で食べるんだ。
お前もかよ。引っかかるとこそこじゃねえよな。なんだあれか？うちの部隊にアホしかいねえのか？
Alright, Mori, you tell him.
賢い人。
Whoops.
賢い人は、そもそも軍人になろうとは思いません。
I like Oichi is like, Mori, you got it. Well, I don't think smart people will join in the first place. There we go, that's why I like you the most. Fran, it's not as if Ellen isn't thinking about anything at all. She has her own reasons why she joined the war effort.
はあ？こんな口の周りジャムでベタベタにして、ボヘーっと笑ってるのに？
The jam has nothing to do with this. When Ellen and I went on that reconnaissance mission together before, she told me all about it. Do you remember what you said?
どのお話？
What do you think about the war?
人が死ぬのは嫌だし、殺すのも嫌だよ。でも、嫌だって言っても戦争はなくなんない。どう頑張ってもなくなんない。どっかの国が平和を唱えたところで、全世界が平和になんかならない。むしろそれが原因で戦争が起きるし、戦争を起こさないための戦争なんてわけのわかんないのも起きるよ。どうせなくならないなら、戦争と上手に付き合っていくしかないんじゃないかな。よくわかんないけど。知らない間に戦争で死んじゃうのが嫌だから、私は軍人になったのかな？
なんで最後が疑問形？言ったんでいい。パン食うのやめろ、
おっしゃっていることはあまりに抽象的で雑に過ぎますが、おそらくは私とエレンさんが軍を志した理由は同じですわね。
軍人は戦うことで感謝されようなどと思ってはいけないということでしょうか。
That's a bit extreme, but at least you won't get upset about protests if you think about it that way. Both the protesters and our army want to end the war as soon as possible. It's just that our methods are different. They will not accept our excuses unless the results of our efforts become directly visible to them. That's all there is to it.
戦って死ぬことの意味をもう一度考えないとバカバカしくなってきますわね。
Worship that can move is no different from a regular old building. It's difficult, and it's bloody difficult to protect something that you can't move. Although we were able to protect the port district from any serious damage, we take the lesson we learned that day to heart and start moving the Alamilikan to the central Dumplet Desert, where there will be no collateral damage if Whistler attacks it again.
新聞にはもう目を通したか？
はい。
全国紙はもちろん、地方紙に至るまで、一面はすべて今回の大空襲を取り上げている。それも、ほとんどの紙面には、大勝利や大戦果の文字が見て取れるが、これはどういうことだ？
申し訳ございません。
そもそも、今回の大空襲にしても、なぜ私の許可を求めなかった？確かにお前にはそれなりの自由は与えたが、こうまでも大規模な作戦を展開する自由まで与えた覚えはない。そして、結果を持ち帰るならまだしも、国民には説明のしようもない被害を出し、天津さえ報道に対して偽りの情報を提供するなど。
相手の戦力が整う前に、撃てる先手はいくらでもあったのです。それをここまで見過ごしてきたのは、
私の責任だと言いたいのか？
そうは申しませんが、それを手ぬるいと感じている将官も多いということをご理解ください。
お前もそう思っているのだな。
はい。
戦争は機会が大切だという話は何度もしたはずだ。こうも私のそばにいて、なぜまだ理解できない？
No, true, but at the same time you've been incurring losses over and fucking over again while like letting obvious opportunities slip by with your overall military strength. So of course people would get upset about it. You're just being a dumbass.
目先の一時的な勝利のために迂闊に殴りかかれば、いたずらに戦争を長引かせるだけだ。
True, but you still need to keep the fucking morale of the soldiers in mind.
戦争が長引けば、国民が疲弊する。国民が窮せれば、国の経済が傾く。戦争とは、短期決戦が理想なのだ。隙があったら殴りかかるなど、まるで子供の喧嘩だ。国を思い、国民を思えば、自制も効いたであろうに。所詮はお前も、勇猛だけが取り柄の古い神の子ということか。
申し訳ありません。
しかし、あれだけの大規模空襲の失敗は、少し予想外だった。反抗勢力の根絶とはいかぬまでも、雪風帰化の直属部隊程度は壊滅させられると踏んでいたのだがな。
ここ最近、バラウールの戦争対応能力は異常に思えます。兵装はもとより、戦術や政治交渉においても、これまでとは明らかに成長速度が違います。
うん。必勝を常とし、それ以上の進化を得る必要のなかった我が軍だ。現場の兵にしてみれば、火力や物量で圧せない戦場は初めてのことだろう。
このまま放置すれば、バラウールは必ずやビスラに対する脅威として急成長します。何卒、勇気あるご決断を。
勇気ある決断ときたか。このままでは、私も父と同じく、弱腰を嘆かれるだけの打傷と化すか。
はい。
確かにこれ以上、連中をつけ上がらせるわけにもいかん。しかし、 このような勇み足でつまずくようではな。私は少し部下の能力を過大評価していたのやもしれん。
次は、私自らが出ます。ドラゴンゾンビ部隊を私に預けてくだ。
兵力を無駄に消耗させる結果にならねばよいがな。
次こそは必ず、雪風を亡き者としてみせます。
いや、雪風は殺すな。
なぜですか？
雪風は殺さなくていい。雪風の男を殺せ。雪風の目の前でな。うかつに雪風を殺せば、雪風の名は英雄として語り継がれ、反乱軍に活力を与える。それならば、目の前で男を殺してグズグズになった雪風を生かして返す方がいい。怒りで頭のおかしくなった指揮官など、軍に救うガンだ。殺すより、そちらの方が効率的だ。
I do remember accidentally seeing one singular CG, which implies that she will probably, at the very least, like knock out Ichiro for like like a day or two, causing some panic. But just like with the experiences thus far, I can just, honestly, God, personally, all I can imagine is Setsuna trying to kill Ichiro, and he just like fucking like grabs her by the neck and starts like fucking choking her out. Like, you're fucking tapping out yet?
納得がいかん。
いえ。承知いたしました。次こそは必ず、ご期待に応えてご覧に入れます。
慌てるな。雪風を打つ機会は必ず来る。
はい。では失礼いたします。わかっている。ここまで来て焦るつもりもない。それでも。はい、飛んだっす。
There's the emblem. Oh boy.
飛んだはいいけど壊れたっす。
We are flying!
飛んだっす。
We are on fire!
で、今はこんな感じっす。
雑な説明じゃの。
You stop explaining why the ship won't fly anymore and what you plan on doing about it from now on in the most concise way possible.
エンジンの冷却装置に問題があって、冷媒が沸騰して蒸発しちゃったっす。結果、冷却液のポンプが気泡を噛んで空回りして、軸が焼き付いちゃったっすね。現状、エンジンが冷めればまた始動できるっすけど、出力は上げられないっす。今後は完全に焼き付いてしまったポンプを新しく作り直すしかないっす。時間かかるっす。
ふむ。周囲は砂漠。周りに何もなければ、空襲を受けても周辺被害は出んが。その分、補給も何もできんな。
だから、まだ飛ばすのは反対だと何度も説明したじゃないっすか。
We loaded the ship with enough rations to last at least a month when we left the port. The real issue is repairing the ship. You have the materials you need to repair the coolant pump tank.
部品自体は単純なものなので直せるっす。問題は工作精度っす。メタルの軸受けは難しいので、ベアリングシールに変えてみるっすけど、耐久性の面で定期的に交換しなければいけない問題が残るっすね。
どれぐらいで直せそうなのじゃ。
通常なら5日。頑張れば3日。超頑張れば2日ってとこっすかね。
よし、超頑張るのじゃ。
Sounds like a terrible idea. What if a new problem arises after she's worked super duper hard? Then the engineering team will be too buggered to do anything about it.
そうか。では、そこそこ頑張るのじゃ。作業はできるだけ分担し、主幹技術者に負担が集中せぬように心がけよ。
Nago get at least 6 hours of sleep every night. That's an order. There's a limit to how long people can concentrate. If you feel like your focus is slipping, that means that you ought to take a break. One careless mistake could endanger the entire crew of the ship.
ウィス、了解っす。
しかしこんな場所では何もできんな。整備家の者たち以外には無駄な暇を与えてしまうの。
Could take advantage of our surroundings and practice bombardment with the Alumilican's guns. The hand forces can guard the area in the meantime. All wyvern squadrons should remain on standby and take turns scouting the area. Be ready for an emergency sortie at any time. The other lads can... How about we give them mops and tell them to scrub the deck?
そうじゃな。この機会をビスラが見逃すとも思えん。警戒は厚くしておこう。
Being on standby, waiting to be sent out might sound like an easy job at first, but it's more exhausting than you might think. That's why generally it's best to try and relax as much as possible while you wait for your next orders. That's especially true in the desert. To make matters worse, the air conditioning of the Alumilican is not repaired yet, and the malfunctioning cooling system of the main engine has filled the ship's interior with vapor, making it unpleasantly humid. Yes. They keep doing this. I just... I want a route for that. Maybe it's only a natural result of the circumstances that we are currently dressed, or rather undressed, like this. Although there were concerns that it might violate military regulations or public morals, I have plenty of experience with lounging around in nothing but my skivvies while waiting for orders at a base in the Southern Islands. If you were to ask me why it's okay for a man to do that, but not for a woman, I wouldn't be able to give you a definitive answer. It also appears that everybody bought some flashy swimsuits while we were staying at the port town, hoping that they might enjoy some sea bathing there. But in the end, we were driven away from the port before the squad had a chance to debut their new swimwear, a fact that seemed to leave them dejected. Because of that, I don't see no reason to write them up for their current attire. Besides, the pilot's skills include being able to respond to an emergency alert right away, even if you were in the middle of taking a giant dump and having no time to wipe your arse. Even if you're lounging around half naked, your body reacts to the alarm on instinct. You grab your flight suit and harness and throw them on while you're running towards the machine. By the time you jump into the pilot's seat, your mind's ready for action.
お、当たるね。いいじゃん、120ミリ。
方針の中にね、螺旋状の溝が掘ってあるんだって。だからまっすぐ飛ぶらしいよ。
へえ。うちらの名護式もさ、もっと大口径になんないのかな。そうすりゃ白ナマズも一発で確実に落とせんのに。
実体弾だと50ミリの強化砲でいっぱいいっぱいなんだって。榴弾なら70ミリまで口径を上げられるけど、砲身重量と射程距離で問題があるかな。60ミリのキャニスター弾になると有効射程は200メートルぐらいじゃないかな。
どっちにしろ重くなるな。
煙幕弾と砲戦火を下ろせばだいぶ軽くなるのではありませんの？砲戦火？あなた、名護さんのご説明をちゃんと聞いていらしたの？ほら、新開発の射出爆雷のことですよ。エレンさんお気に入りだったじゃないですか。あれか。バーンって飛び散るやつ？そう。
あれってさ、要はケツに張り付いた敵に食らわせるヘみたいなもんじゃん？格闘戦をやらない私みたいな重爆殺しにはあんま意味ない装備なんだよね。
そんなことありませんわよ。同行で敵爆撃機の背後から追い抜きざまにブリッと一発鼻先にかましてあげればよろしいのですわ。
いや、それが思ったように当たんないんだって。見当違いの方向に降落したり、うまく投下できたと思ったら、次元神官の動作不良で爆発しなかったりさ。
うまく爆発したとしても、3番では大型船に対してはあまり有効打になりませんしね。
かといって、6番なんか積んだ日には重くて8000までしか上がれない。10番なんて積んでみろ。翼面荷重の高い私なんか、飛び上がるのも一苦労だよ。
私は10番、2つ積んで飛べるよ。今ね、名護の人が中の鉄球を短い矢に変えて、貫通力っていうのを高めたのを作ってもらってるよ。
何でしたっけ？確か、港町でエビを食べている時に尻尾を見て思いついたって言ってましたわよね。天才的だとは思いますけど、よくわかりませんわね。
お、また当たった。よく当たるもんだ。
まあ、標的は不動の地上物ですし、そう難しくはないんじゃありませんの？測理儀のメモリ通りに合わせれば当たるみたいだけど、要は目標物の大きさから正確に距離を割り出す計算が素早くできないと実戦では当たらないみたいだよ。実戦では当然敵も回避運動はするだろうし、外れたら着弾誤差と敵の移動の速度を加えて再計算しなきゃいけないから、まあそううまくは当たらないんじゃないかな。それを計算する専用の機械があると聞きましたわよ。電子計算機ね。でもまだ整備途中で使えないらしいよ。今はそろばんで計算してるんだって。
そろばん？
一郎さんの国に伝わる計算器具なんだって。というか、みんな測量工法の座学の時に使ったよね。あれ、慣れるまでは暗算の方が早いと思っていましたけど、慣れてしまえば暗算よりも断然早いし、正確ですわよね。名護さんも、とても優れたデジタル計算機だって褒めてました。
なんかさ、一郎が来てからというもの、いろいろなものが急に変わってきたよな。
そうですわね。武器が変わって、戦い方も変わったよね。
食べ物も変わったよ。カレーライス美味しいよ。
私ら、どんどん戦争が上手くなっていってる。
悪いことではありませんわよ。
わかってるけどさ、なんか怖くて。
あら、ビビリですの？
ちげえって、そういうんじゃなくて、このままでいいのかって。もう、伝わんねえかな。
わかってますわよ。でも、それもこの戦争が終わるまでのことですわ。戦争が終われば、戦争に慣れていく不安も、なくなりますわよ。
多分。Maybe.
なんだよ、それ。
Maybe. 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 Maybe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel so zoned out today. By God. What is going on? I left my beer upstairs.
貴様ら、随分といいご身分だな。
あ、姉さん、お疲れ様です。
I mind you relaxing while you're on standby, but make sure you can take off within 1 minute the emergency alarm rings.
一郎よ、甘くはないのか？他部隊の飛竜も合流したのだ。384はたるんでいると思われては問題があろう。
It's only natural that a serious soldier will be able to respond to an emergency, but it's much more impressive when the seemingly laid-back ones are suddenly up and ready for action as soon as the siren sounds. If the cadets take their most uptight seniors as an example, they'll end up knackered when they try and imitate them. Seniors with the most presence are the ones who can still flash a relaxed smile, even when shells are raining down on them.
言いたいことはわかるが、戦死者も出たのだぞ。232飛竜隊からは翼をもがれたやつが出たとも聞く。少しは真摯なところだな。
Here's something I've been wondering about. How wyvern has their wings torn off in battle. Won't they simply grow back after they've had a bit of R&R and medical treatment, then transform back to their dragon form? I think if that was the case, Petra would already have done that.
ああ、翼をもがれるというのは概念的な言葉で、要は変身できなくなったという意味だ。
I see. I had no idea it was a euphemism.
飛竜といっても竜族の女の変身能力にはばらつきがあるのですわ。生まれてすぐ変身できる者もいれば、変身できたとしても体育に恵まれなかったり、変身時間が極端に短かったり、中には変身できないまま一生を終える者もいますのよ。
確率で言うと全体の7割に該当します。そして変身できるものもいつまで変身できるかは不明です。老衰するまで変身できるものもいれば、
変身できなくなる原因は大抵が負傷が原因だ。また負傷していなくても突然上がりを迎えてしまうこともある。
So it's basically like periods. They're regular, and there's regular and irregular cycles, and some women have it worse than others.
なぜいつもそうゲスな方向へ発想するのだ貴様は。
Basically, a lady who's lost her wings like you is going through her menopause.
それ以上言えば殺す。
That was just take the piss, I swear. I admit I went too far. My apologies.
私とて嫁のもらい手はまだいくらでもあるはずだ。それを貴様は。
I volunteer myself. I never said anything about that. I don't mention anything like this in front of you again.
来ましたわ。
機関アルムアケード発令所よりナナオフェティ少尉から達します。北方50キロより進行する敵飛行船団の機影を確認。機数8。またドラゴンゾンビと思われる飛行体を140確認。毎時250キロの速度で接近中。
140？
哨戒より入電。大体規模の地上部隊を確認。無視戦車60を含む地上部隊200が進行中との報告あり。
Blimey, they're out in force
よし
again.
384小隊総員全力出動。
編成はどうしますか？
Plan will be flying solo. Coordinate with members of other squadrons for an ultra-high altitude battle. Disable the hostile aircrafts by using hit-and-run tactics from above and to clear the path. You take the
了
lead.
解。
Carmine, form a unit with Mori. She'll be on top. Once you're in the air, you'll both fly into the opening front creates and bugger up the enemy
了
formation.
解しましたわ。
行ってまいります。
Ellen, you'll be the heavy bomber. Bring 6 number 6s and 2 anti-aircraft mine discharges with you.
了解。
私は艦に戻るぞ。一郎、貴様。
I've done what I can for now. The rest depends on how this battle plays out. Now can you hear me over?
聞こえてるっすよ。
How's the situation on board?
ポンプの修理がまだ終わってないっす。とりあえず上昇はさせるっすけど、推進出力は上げられないっす。
Can you still move it at low velocity? Over.
整備課全員でエンジンに水ぶっかけながらなら再始動可能っす。移動速度も一度完成化速度がつけばなんとかなるっすけど、それまでは逃げながら戦うしかないっす。
Have you reported that to the captain?
も
Over.
ちろんっす。
Captain, please return to the bridge and take the helm.
そのつもりだ。
一郎、どこにおるのじゃ。一
I'm just outside the ship on the airfield.
郎。
Over.
おお、そこにおったか。よし、私もそこへ行く。飛行服に着替えて待っておれ。
Wait, what?
姫様、またそのような身勝手を。
身勝手とは何じゃ。敵は140を超えるのじゃぞ。圧倒的に数が足りんのじゃ。私とて飛竜ぞ、飛ぶ。
しかし姫様。
分かっておる。じゃが、これは兵を戦地に送る者の責任の問題じゃ。私も無謀を示して勇猛を誇らんとしておるわけではないわ。貴様とて陸戦隊の指揮を取る責任があろうが、どうなっておる。
は、先兵としてルルカリオンの偵察両兵を出しました。続いて突撃兵、対戦車重装歩兵。
ならば、このような無駄話をしておる暇はなかろう。貴様は貴様で自らの責任を果たさぬか。
三森一郎、姫様を、雪風様を頼むぞ。
Don't worry, I'll protect her with my life. Over and out. The battlefield soldiers often proclaim that they'll accomplish something with their life. And from time to time, the person who spoke those words actually does end up giving their life for their cause. For me, it's my second time making such an oath. First time was right before I was about to crash into a hostile aircraft carrier on what I thought would be my final sortie. Now, after having somehow survived, I'm not afraid to make that same oath. You know what? This feels like shit is about to start happening, and I don't feel like mentally there enough to be able to properly process anything happening right now, so I'll be cutting it short here. It's only 15 minutes, I know, but I am tired and just feeling like weirdly. Oh, fuck that. It's not lightheaded. It's not lightheaded. It's more like just genuinely just kind of like, what was I thinking again? Like absent-minded. That's the fucking word. But yeah, so I don't really want to get into this because I'm assuming they're gonna meet Setsuna now. So yeah, I don't want to have to deal with that kind of scene when I'm currently kind of just, you know. So I'm sorry, but bye.